Walt Disney originally designed the Carousel of Progress for Disneyland. It eventually ended up in Florida, and the building he built it for in Anaheim's Tomorrowland is currently just a lounge and meet and greet location. Now, Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom will be permanently retiring the original attraction scenes in favor of a more modern timeline. And with Anaheim's original Carousel Theater sitting mostly vacant in a painfully underutilized state, the window is wide open to bring the original animatronics and set pieces back there as a restored Carousel of Progress. But would this actually be feasible? And would it be worth the needed investment to bring it back home to where Walt originally intended it to be? In May 2026, Disney officially announced a complete overhaul of the Carousel of Progress at Magic Kingdom in Orlando. Final operating day of the original show is scheduled for July 5th, 2026. The 2027 replacement is a complete reimagining, featuring a brand new Walt Disney animatronic and the introductory scene. The new timeline consists of the 1969 Apollo moon landing, Halloween 1985, Y2K New Year's Eve, in a distant future inspired by mid-century retro-futuristic concept art from legendary Imagineer John Hench. And the scenes being permanently retired are the 1900s turn of the century, 1920s, 1940s, and the today of the late 1990s. So why are these retired scenes of particular interest? It's simple. Walt originally designed this attraction for Disneyland, which was always intended to be its permanent home. In the late 1950s, Walt planned an early concept for this attraction as the centerpiece for Edison Square, a proposed expansion of Disneyland's Main Street USA. After this concept was shelved, corporate sponsorship from General Electric allowed Walt to fully build it out for the 1964-1965 New York World's Fair, with a strict contractual stipulation that at the end of the fair, the attraction would be dismantled, shipped across the country, and permanently installed in Disneyland's Tomorrowland. The attraction was eventually moved to Florida and has evolved through the years. Now that the original scenes are being discarded, there's a unique opportunity to finally bring them back to their original home in Disneyland. July 2nd, 1967, the opening of New Tomorrowland at Disneyland, with the Carousel of Progress as one of the new centerpiece attractions. Here, the Carousel Theater was 2 stories tall, and the second floor was dedicated to a large-scale model of Walt's Progress City, his original Epcot concept for a fully planned future community. Guests leaving the theater rode a speed ramp to the second level to view the model. The show and the model together offered a clear message. This is the arc of technological progress, and this is exactly where Walt believed it was leading. This 2-story version of the attraction was unique to Anaheim. Eventually, General Electric, who was still the corporate sponsor, had a problem. GE determined that roughly 80% of the audience at Disneyland consisted of local repeat visitors. The show remained popular, but their advertising wasn't reaching any new people. With the opening of Walt Disney World in 1971, GE saw an opportunity to market to an entirely new pool of largely non-repeat East Coast and international tourists, and pressured Disney to move the attraction there. So what later happened to the Carousel Theater in Disneyland after the show left? What we'll come to realize is that Disney's evolution of this building over the years directly impacts the likelihood of bringing the show back. September 9th, 1973, the attraction closes at Disneyland. The sets are packed and shipped to Florida, where the tourist first visit model makes a high-capacity theater show a genuine operational asset, particularly for GE. In 1974, Disneyland repurposes the Carousel Theater as America Sings, an audio animatronic folk music revue that ran for 14 years. The rotating theater was still functional when that show closed in 1988, but what followed was nearly a decade when one of Tomorrowland's largest structures had no defined purpose and sat completely vacant. In 1998, Innoventions moved in, and during that residency, the rotation mechanism was retained but later disabled entirely. Today, the former Carousel Theater operates as Star Wars Launch Bay for character meet and greets and as a Disney Vacation Club lounge. A building designed as a symbol of technological progress is now a stagnant shadow of its former self. Before we get into the reasons why it makes sense for Disneyland to restore the Carousel of Progress, if you enjoy this kind of analysis and exploring Disneyland as a living, evolving place, make sure to hit like and subscribe to help support the channel. On paper, the opportunity for a Disneyland return has never been better aligned. The IP is wholly owned by Disney. No licensing complications and no corporate partnerships are in the way. The Carousel Theater building is still there. The rotating theater format has been proven for over 60 years, and the content being retired in Florida is precisely the content that was built for Anaheim. The historically grounded scenes that a tourist-first Florida audience has outgrown, but that Disneyland's high-frequency, repeat visitors would actually appreciate. Disneyland's Magic Key demographic is engaged in a way that Magic Kingdom's largely vacation-focused demographic generally isn't. Guests who are more nostalgia-driven and well-versed with Disney lore and Imagineering history. Secondly, this attraction was designed and built for Disneyland, the park where Walt Disney's personal creative vision is most deliberately preserved. The original attraction's turn-of-the-century starting point was not chosen arbitrarily. It was intended to closely mirror Walt Disney's own personal life. Walt was born in 1901, and the optimism that fueled the original attraction came directly from his personal worldview of technology improving everyday life. Thirdly, Tomorrowland has been described as being in steady decay for years and is long overdue for a complete reimagining and thematic overhaul. Bringing a restored Carousel of Progress back to a largely dead space in Tomorrowland would revitalize the area and could be the beginning of the comprehensive Tomorrowland reset that's been needed for decades. But the case gets complicated, and the engineering reveals three problems that individually on their own would make this a difficult proposition. The rotating theater works on a specific principle. The audience moves, not the sets. An outer auditorium circles the fixed stages, driven by a system of motors, tracks, and rollers. However, decades of renovations have entirely removed this, leaving the building's core as a static two-story warehouse. The mechanical system would have to be completely rebuilt from scratch. In addition, the rotating floor has been physically welded in place to now meet California's seismic requirements. Besides this, when the building became a static exhibition space, Disney ran permanent utilities through the rotating plane of the floor, electrical conduits, communication lines, and rigid plumbing connections for restrooms. To make the building rotate again, these utilities would have to be completely demolished and rerouted. This wouldn't be just a renovation, it's a demolition project followed by a complete rebuild. And the structure has a contamination problem. The structural elements of the 1967 building contain significant asbestos, which was standard construction material of the era. Any major structural work triggers California's abatement mandates, negative pressure containment, and a full closure of this area for months before any new components can be installed. So the cleanest way to read this is the rotating system is gone, the floor is welded, and the structure is contaminated. Each issue alone makes restoration difficult. All three together make it financially prohibitive. Now, the regulatory issue. Any major structural overhaul triggers a change of use designation under California Building Code, which strips the building of its grandfathered exemptions. The structure would have to be brought up to current seismic safety standards, which would require a complete rebuild of the foundation. The estimated reconstruction cost may exceed $100 million, and this is money in square footage that could be repurposed in an already resource-constrained environment for a more advanced next-generation attraction as part of a complete Tomorrowland reimagining. A next-generation attraction would almost definitely produce a larger return on investment by attracting a wider guest demographic outside of local repeat guests, the same issue that caused the Carousel of Progress to leave in the first place. Disneyland's claim on the original Carousel of Progress scenes is legitimate, but the barriers will be difficult to overcome. Engineering, regulation, and economics each independently return a finding against it. Unfortunately, the Carousel Theater at Disneyland will most likely make room for a next generation attraction in Tomorrowland. And when it does, the original Carousel of Progress scenes, retired in Florida and unretrievable in California, will have no home left. So what do you think? Should Disney invest in bringing back the retired show scenes to Disneyland? Or should they focus more on a complete Tomorrowland overhaul? Drop your take in the comments, and if you want more analysis of Disneyland's past, present, and future, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.